Jared here with CarBuzz.com, and behind me sits the 2019 Chevy Blazer. That's right, the Blazer is back in a big way, and some people on the internet are not happy about it. Oh no, people not happy on the internet? Wow, I've never heard of such a thing. Now, here's why people are angry. Chevy could have called this new SUV anything, laser or taser, but no, they decided to bring back the famous Blazer name, which used to be affixed to a big body-on-frame vehicle. That's the K5 generation, but here's where I think people are being a little overzealous. They don't remember the S10 Blazer from like the 90s, early 2000s. That thing wasn't like a crazy off-road truck, and a lot of people just wanted this to be sort of like a Jeep Wrangler, Toyota, 4Runner type rival. It's not. It's based on the same platform as the Equinox. It's a little bit bigger than that, sits below the Traverse. I think it looks fantastic. As soon as I saw it, I said, wow, they've basically made a Camaro SUV, but it looks better than the Camaro in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and get it out on the road. But before we do, be sure to click the link in the description below to get all the best deals on the 2019 Chevy Blazer. And for one last dodgeball reference, Kimi Blazer. Now I'm gonna activate the remote start. So as soon as I hopped behind the wheel of the Chevy Blazer, I didn't have like super high expectations because, as I said, Chevy, you know, this is based on the same platform as vehicles like the Equinox, the Buick Envision, GMC Terrain, those sort of things. So I wasn't coming in expecting like a super sporty Camaro SUV type experience, but I'm actually genuinely surprised by how good this thing drives. It is pretty nice. So there are two engines on offer. The base is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. Haven't had a chance to drive that one. It only produces 193 horsepower and 188 foot-pounds of torque. That doesn't sound all that exciting. The one that we have, all of the upper trims get a 3.6 liter V6. It's the same V6 that Chevy puts in so many of their cars, including the Camaro. It produces a very healthy amount of power in this application, 308 horsepower and 269 foot-pounds of torque. Goes out to a 9-speed automatic transmission. It's a very nice transmission. The last time I drove this was in the Buick Envision, where it's definitely more suited for a luxury application. The gear shifts are like imperceptible, very smooth, loves to sort of go to its highest gear for the best fuel economy. The one criticism that I do have of it is Chevy, this is an RS car, which is, you know, supposed to be sporty. There are no paddle shifters on the wheel. The only way that you can shift it yourself is I drop it into L here, and then I have access to a pseudo manual mode where it'll, you know, only shift to the highest gear with this little rocker here. That's probably good for towing, but like for driving sporty, you don't want to like be shifting with your thumb. So that's a little disappointing that they didn't put like paddles on here. But I usually complain about SUVs with paddle shifters anyway, because I think 99% of people are never going to touch them anyway. So if you're just driving normally, I think the 9-speed automatic is fantastic. It just might not be what you want for back road applications, although it does okay there. Now, the other thing that the Blazer doesn't do all that well either is fuel economy. It's rated in all-wheel drive. You can get front-wheel drive on the V6 models, but the RS trim that we're driving here and the Premier, those are the two upper trims, are all-wheel drive only. And with all-wheel drive, you're going to be getting about 20 mpg in the city, 26 on the highway. Now, I have this reset from the moment I got this SUV, and I'm only getting 15. Not great, although I was stationary for a large portion of driving last night. Since after that I reset it, I'm at about 23 mpg, which is a little better, but I have found it difficult to get really good fuel economy numbers in this SUV. Now, it does have a stop-start system. We're about to come to a stop, and this is going to be interesting. Let's see if it actually shuts the engine off. No, it didn't. So here's the thing. I have been driving this for a few days now, and I could not get the stop-start system to activate. I didn't know what I was going to tell you about it. I was going to say, well, it just hasn't done it. Then last night when I was driving this car, it finally decided to activate, and it is very good. I don't know why it takes so long to trigger. I'm not sure if maybe I just have like the air conditioning too cold or something like that the parameters aren't good for it. But when it does activate, it is one of the best start-stops that I've had on like a non-mild hybrid car. Cranks up on the first go, really goes in smoothly with your acceleration. So that is very pleasing that GM was able to get the stop-start so right on this car. And if you care, towing is 4,500 pounds max on the Blazer. I don't think too many people are going to be buying this for towing. I think it's more of a styling play than an all-out workhorse. But if you want to maybe tow a small trailer, 4,500 pounds is going to be your max. And if you care, with all-wheel drive, 0 to 60 happens in about 6.2 seconds. Now, we could focus a little bit on how it drives now. It's a little sportier than something like an Equinox, but don't come in expecting like Edge ST levels of performance or Durango SRT levels of performance. This is kind of like a pseudo performance SUV. I would say it's a little bit more show than go, but as we're about to see here, I'm going to turn around and we'll do a little bit of acceleration run to show you how 308 horsepower gets down to the road. We'll put it in all-wheel drive mode, which is pretty interesting. You have a couple of drive modes here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in sport mode, which is going to lock on the all-wheel drive. I'll turn off traction control. Probably won't make a huge difference. Give it some flooring. It's a very nice sounding V6 engine, and the 9-speed handles the shifts really well. So yeah, acceleration, very brisk. Not gonna like throw you back in your seat or anything crazy, but I do like the healthy amount of power here. I think it's a good amount for the segment. You know, the Edge with its 2.7 liter twin turbo V6 is a little more powerful, but I think this is very good. The ride, very smooth when you're out on like a normal road. The only time I've found the ride to be a bit stiff is when you go over huge undulations. We have 21-inch wheels that are optional. You need to get them if you want to get this awesome panoramic roof that I have in this car. I think they might be affecting the ride a little bit, so if you just stick with the base 20s on the RS trim, I think you're going to be a little bit better with ride comfort. And steering, nothing to write home about. You know, it is basically an Equinox, maybe a little sportier than an Equinox, I would say. But yeah, it's definitely not like a pure driver's SUV, but I think that's fine. And the Camaro styling is definitely carried over on this interior. So let's go ahead and pull over and check it out. Wow, as soon as I hopped in here, I was like, this looks just like the Camaro. And I think that was a concerted effort for Chevy. I think a lot of people love the Camaro, and they thought, well, what if we made an SUV that was kind of inspired by the Camaro? But here's the thing. I think that the materials and the layout is done just so that it's actually a little nicer than it is in the Camaro. Let's start off with this awesome digital display up here in the gauge cluster. It's very simple to use. It shows you a lot of different functions. Here's our trip information, fuel range, tire pressure, that's included on all Blazer models. You have a timer, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if you're going to the track with this. You can have it show your speed limits. You can actually have it showing your following distance to the car in front. I don't necessarily know why that's helpful. I remember seeing that on an ATS-V I tested a little while ago. You can also have it show your audio, map, phone information, and there is like a different theme that you can have. We have it now in like the sporty theme, which I think looks a lot better than the other one that's on here. The gauges on the side, the tachometer, engine temp, fuel economy, those are all physical gauges, but what's in here is actually digital, even though, you know, they sort of continue this ring here and they have these sort of pseudo physical gauges on either side. It's pretty much the same as I tested in the Buick Envision this time last year. I think it looks pretty good, and bravo to Chevy here. shows a lot of information cleanly and easily. Now let's take a look at the rest of the interior. If you've been in a Camaro recently, this is going to look very familiar to it. The screen is kind of tilted down, although I will say it's not as down tilted as it was in the Camaro, and it does feel a little bit higher up to me. The Camaro, the screen sits very, very low on the dash, so I do think that Chevy has improved this overall layout here. This screen, this is the Chevy MyLink infotainment system. Very much a fan of it. I think it's very good, very easy to use, quick and responsive, very simple to navigate. If I throw it into reverse, you're gonna get this awesome backup with surround view camera, very clear, very concise. You can see it's all one image. It's not like stitched together with different lines. You can even play around with the different camera views. You can have super close-up views. You can even have like a whole surround view, like augmented reality type deal. These are the side fenders. This is fantastic, and it makes parking this SUV great. It doesn't have self-parking, which interestingly the Buick Envision does, although that is a little bit more expensive than this, and it doesn't have as much power as this V6 engine. So yeah, great camera systems here. This is all linked to an 8-speaker Bose stereo system on this higher trim RS model, although that is part of a package. Now down here we have our climate control. This is almost identical to what you'll get in the Camaro. Heated and ventilated seats. The ventilated seats work fantastically. It's been like 100 degrees in Florida, so I can say with all certainty that the ventilated seats do work well, and they stay on when you shut the car off, so they will be on when you get back in it. Adjusting the temperature is very cool. You've got these big gauges that are kind of low mounted like they are in the Camaro. You kind of just turn the whole gauge left or right, and that's going to change the temperature. You can close it just like that. Very cool integration. It just saves you having like one more button to adjust temperature by having this all be one knob. You've got your wireless charger here. I have my phone. It's kind of carved out so your phone's not going to go flying. Very smart positioning on that. Very easy to access your phone. And you've got a USB-C and regular USB port here with 2 additional ports here in the center console, which makes it very easy to charge your buttons. Now, charge your devices, I'm sorry. Now, lastly, I've got this drive mode selector here. We have it in 2-wheel drive mode. Very interesting that you can lock the all-wheel drive system off for better fuel economy when you're just driving around normally. You don't really need all-wheel drive. One twist over is going to give you your all-wheel drive mode. One more twist over is going to give you your sport mode, which also locks it into all-wheel drive, dials back the shifts so they're less tuned for fuel economy, gives you sharper throttle response, all of those sort of things. One more is this little, it looks like a mountain road squiggly or whatever. That's your off-road mode. I don't think you're going to be doing too much off-roading. And then one last twist, you have like a little trailer icon. That's going to get you into your tow haul mode, up to 4,500 pounds towing. But again, I don't think you're going to be doing all that much towing. Now, one interesting thing I want to point out with the interior, 2 things actually. One is the glove box. To open it, you have to push glove box. Kind of interesting. I don't know why they didn't just put a lever, but kind of neat. And the other one is this rear view camera. It just looks like a normal rear view mirror, but if I go ahead and flick that up, I'm going to get a camera system back there. So even if I have kids or tall items in the back, I'm going to be able to have a clear look at what's behind me. Chevy's been doing this, and a lot of GM's been putting this in a lot of their cars, and I think it works pretty well in this application. Now let's go ahead and check out the pretty roomy back seat. Now back here, the Chevy Blazer is a little bit bigger than the Equinox. This, as I mentioned before, sits between the Equinox and the larger Traverse. It is strictly a 2-row. You cannot get a 3rd row back there. 39.6 inches of rear legroom, so I have plenty here. And you can, if you grab this little bar, slide it all the way up. I don't know why you'd want it all the way up this far, or slide it back. You can also recline, which is very nice as well. Have a simple armrest with 2 cup holders. I do have air vents right here. The panoramic roof does come all the way back here. The seats are fairly comfortable, except the middle one is a little bit hard. The 2 outer seats are heated. I have the controls for that right here on the door. And I've got a USB-C and USB port in addition to a 120 volt outlet back here, so you can charge up to 3 devices, which is pretty darn cool. Now let's go ahead and check out the cargo area, where Chevy has included a very unique, very cool new feature. So back here, I don't think the Blazer is quite as good looking as it is in the front, but it's still a very attractive SUV, especially in this red. Please go for an exciting color. Don't go for like white or black. Since we have an RS trim, we have the power liftgate, which if you're willing to do a little Chevy dance here, a little Chevy jig, let's see, come on. Nope, nope. Nope, imagine this with a screaming baby, some shopping bags, maybe heavy jugs of water. Nope, can't make it do it. So I'm just gonna hit it on the key fob to open it. Yep, see, I hate those systems with the wave your foot, make it work. They never seem to work. But back here, we have about a little over 30 cubic feet of storage. If you fold down the second row, which is extremely easy to do, you have these releases right here. There's one for that side. I've got another handle over here. Folds down the seats extremely easily, and you can do that from the second row as well. There are handles back there, so no matter where you are, it's very easy to fold down the seats. And I wanted to point out this awesome rail system. It's removable, so you can take it out if you're not going to use it. But basically, this slides into different positions here. So if you only have smaller items, like you see how our backpacks don't take up the whole trunk here, you can slide it so then your stuff won't go rolling around. Really clever solution here that Chevy has come up with, and I wanted to give them huge props for that. Under here, we do have our spare tire, and of course, closing it is as easy as pushing a button. So now let's price out our Chevy Blazer RS, which is among the higher trim Blazer models. So let's price out our 2019 Chevy Blazer. You've got 5 trims to choose from. Some of them don't actually have names on Chevy's website, which is kind of strange. So you've got the base L trim, $29,995, just under 30 grand. It's gonna get you noise cancellation, a rear camera, heated mirrors, manual cloth seats, HID headlights, Bluetooth, an 8-inch touchscreen, tire pressure monitoring system, and dual zone automatic climate control. You also only get the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder mated to the 9-speed automatic driving front wheel drive. I think most people who are going to buy the L trim are going to be maybe like fleets. Then you've got what Chevy calls the Blazer cloth. It's weird, the middle trim Blazers are just called Blazer, but internally they have 1LT, 2LT, and 3LT names. So the 1LT gets you the 4-cylinder engine with front wheel drive. That's $33,495. For $1,000 more, you can get the V6 on the 2LT trim. And then for the 3LT trim, you get leather for $38,695. And you also get the larger V6 engine there. Now the one we have here is the RS trim, sportiest looking of the bunch, $41,795. You also get rear park assist, 20-inch wheels, a power lift gate, power driver seat, ambient lighting, lane change and blind spot alert, cargo rail, and a heated steering wheel. Now the Premier trim, that's $43,895, a little bit more expensive than this RS trim. You're gonna get unique front styling and different 20-inch wheels, more of a softer, luxurious look. You're also gonna get a few standard features that you don't get on the RS trim, such as Bose audio, heated and ventilated seats, heated rear seats, memory settings, power steering column, cargo rail, and heated steering wheel. Now, you can option those things onto the RS through what is called the Enhanced Convenience and Driver Convenience 2 package. That's $35,795. We had it here on our tester. That gets you the memory seats, lane keep assist, wireless charger, heated rear seats, surround view camera, Bose 8-speaker audio, heated and ventilated front seats, adaptive cruise control, built-in navigation, and the rear camera mirror. I think that's a pretty good bargain for $3,500. And then you've got the Sun and Wheels package for $24,995. This is a bit of an interesting option. That's going to get you the 21-inch black wheels, which look great, but I think they do compromise the ride a little bit, and you get the panoramic roof. So you might want to get that just to get that awesome glass roof. As tested for this RS trim, you're going to be spending about $46,000. I think the RS trim is the way to go because I think it's the best looking Blazer, and I wouldn't hesitate to option those 2 packages to bring it as my tester is, because it is very luxurious and very nice in here. Now let's go ahead and conclude this video. So let's sum up our time with the 2019 Chevy Blazer. This is a vehicle that I like a lot. I was coming in expecting it to be pretty good, but I wasn't expecting to be so impressed by it. And I'm gonna give you all a little anecdote to explain my ranking here. My mom is a Lexus snob. She's bought multiple Lexuses. I think she's on her fourth one. And before she bought her current Lexus, she was gonna look at a Honda Accord because I told her how nice it was and how it's almost a luxury car, and then she said, no, I just want the Lexus badge. My mom hopped in this for the first time the other day, and she said, wow, how much does this cost? I would actually go look at one. To a Chevy. Now that is huge for the Chevrolet brand, that my mom, who wouldn't even look at the beautiful, nice Honda Accord, would think about buying one of these. That is why I am going to be giving the Chevy Blazer a score of must buy. It may not be the SUV you wanted it to be, but I think it's the SUV that GM needed to build right now, and I would not hesitate to recommend it. And if you'd like this video and you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe to the CarBuzz YouTube channel and hit the notification icon to be alerted to our latest videos. And download our apps on iOS and Android to keep up with the latest and greatest in automotive news and to see more reviews just like this one. Hope you've enjoyed the video. See you next time.